everybody. My name is Dr. Garrett Smith. We're doing a Facebook Live again. I'm a licensed naturopathic physician in Tucson, Arizona. My website is nutritionrestored.com. Some of you will be very familiar with my blog forum, which is where I've been posting all the research I've been doing on chronic insidious vitamin A toxicity, what I call poison/vitamin A, because it's not really a nutrient. But we're going to go into questions. A lot of people have questions about that stuff today because I post about it all the time. Anybody who's been following my feed, some people are saying I'm clogging up their feed with too many posts. So I'm okay with that. You know, that's what I do. When I get a wild hair, I start posting on it. So hello everybody. If somebody could just give me a like if you see this, just so I can see that my my sound is working. So who's calling the office? Is anybody important? Nope. Okay. So we're going to go into questions. Oh, one first thing before we start. I am a doctor. If you are not my client, I am not your doctor. So I don't give specific recommendations on this broadcast because let me give you, I don't give specific recommendations because people aren't my clients and I'm a doctor and I don't need to lose my license over giving people medical advice who aren't my clients who then take it and do the wrong thing with it. So please understand, I don't recommend specific products to people most times on this. I don't recommend dosages. In the state of Arizona, I have to have through my medical board, I have to carry what's called a certificate to dispense, which is a fee I have to pay every 2 years so I can sell supplements. It's like $150, $200. I don't know if anybody out there who, let's say they join a multi-level marketing company and they want to sell supplements that has to pay the government a fee to be able to sell, but I do. Call it whatever name you want. I have some names for what that practice is, but anyway, so you're not going to hear me giving random recommendations and random dosages and stuff like that based on, you know, a sentence long self-diagnosis. It's just not what I do. Okay. So please don't ask. I mean, please don't give me any more questions. I got enough questions in that thread from the other day that I got to go through. I have tons here to go through. So please don't ask any more questions in the comments. Okay, Leah, you are asking about, we know that pigs, particularly pig fat, has a lot of retinol. I'm looking deeper into that. It may not be it's not as, well, none of this is as cut and dry. None of it is as cut and dry as we want it to be, right? We have all sorts of people with vitamin A toxicity problems who have low blood vitamin A. And how does that work? Well, that's on the blog forum. I go over that in the retinol binding protein rule. And now we have ways that people can be vitamin A toxic through retinol esters, too many of those, while their total blood vitamin A is still low. And then we have the whole fact that the standards for vitamin A in the blood are probably set way too high because everybody's toxic already. And they're just taking the normal range from the people who are testing, which means if everybody's toxic, the normal range is toxic. So I'm figuring out the pigs. It could be something else. The pig thing, I think there's multiple factors to it. All you got to do, if you wanted to go read some great stuff, it is the Perfect Health Diet. They have a 3-part, they said it's if you Googled like Perfect Health Diet, let me just do it for you guys. I'll find the series and I'll put it in the comments. This is an amazing series about the relationship between pork and disease. Okay, so this is really like one of the things I like to do. I call it the black box approach. It's well known. It is the idea that, let's say we were talking about the human body. I almost just canceled the whole broadcast on accident. They have the little red end live video and I'm trying to post the link and I almost ended it. Asked, do you want to kill this video? I was like, no, okay, so it's a 3-part series. So I only put the first link on the comments. But the black box approach is like with the human body. You put in an input into the black box. You got this black box. You don't know what happens inside of it. It's like think of it as a machine or a body or whatever. And we don't understand everything about the human body. We hardly understand anything. And I'm okay with that. What I want to know is when we do something to the black box, the human body, is the output good? Is the output what we want? So you have an input and you have an output. And really all you need to know is long term. Long term is important. That's the most important. I don't care short term. Tons of people ruin their health with energy drinks every day. And they're like, but I feel better for a couple hours. I don't care. You're ruining your health long term with too much of that garbage. So it's like long term is important. Always. So is it good long term? So like when we're talking about pork, that series, pork, the long-term evidence on it is a disaster. Liver cancer, all sorts of other stuff. I don't eat pork hardly ever. So when we're talking about what's in pork, is it stearic acid that's the problem? Is it vitamin A that's the problem? Is it whatever? I don't have it all nailed down. The vitamin A angle on pork, is it vitamin A in there? That angle's actually getting weaker as myself and Harry, a guy who loves to look into this stuff with me, he's been helping with this. As we're looking into it more, the vitamin A angle content of pork is becoming less clear. But there's the stearic acid, which may turn into free fatty acids as a problem. And then there's the other part. Weston Price did a thing where they were looking at the pork under microscopes, and there was differences between the ways that they process the pork. And there's parasites in pork that aren't in other meats. It's just, pork is a disaster. If there's one thing that Matt Stone and I have always agreed on, other than enjoying like 80s movies and spitting lines from like pop culture at each other, it's that pork made us feel like crap. So when we're talking about Armour thyroid, we're talking about desiccated natural thyroid from pigs. Is that a problem in terms of the vitamin A content? Probably not. Is it a problem in terms of the stearic acid content? No. The plan will be that if this is my, so am I claiming any cures right now? No, I don't do that. I'm not stupid enough to do that. What I'm going to say is, I mean, besides the 6 studies, I haven't posted them on the blog forum yet, but the 6 studies where I found that vitamin A is directly anti-thyroid. As people are going along in this, and they talk about their sleep improving, and they talk about their energy improving, and they talk about these things as do they go through the detox cycles, which are not easy. Don't get this through your head that the vitamin A detox is like something you do and it's a walk in the park, a cakewalk. It's not. But people get better as they pay attention and they notice things get better along the way. They want to stick with it. Sometimes the getting better can take a little bit. As I'm getting more and more patterns, some people go through shorter detox cycles. You know, it's like washing laundry. You know, it's like you wash a load, and then you go a while without washing. So some people have longer detox cycles than others. Obviously, the people who have more to detox are going to feel worse during the detox cycles for longer than the people who have less. I'm starting to wonder if people who have more body fat, where they can store more vitamin A in it, are going to have a longer time at the detox. So anyway, but about that, do I think you have to worry about getting vitamin A through the desiccated thyroid? No, I don't think that's a problem. And I think it's probably helping your, day-to-day quality of life more than anything that it's bringing in any kind of negative way. So for right now, I mean, I'm not going to mess with anybody's meds on a Facebook Live, but so yeah, I'm not worried about that. That's not a concern of mine. So, okay, let me see. Okay, so we have Mary. confused about the whole coconut thing. Coconut sugar and water are okay. MCT oil is okay. Coconut milk? And how is tallow okay if it's higher than other fats and stearic acid? Fat in general, not good for vitamin A diet detox to have much. Okay. You're catching me in the middle of, oh my gosh, I did a post just today about how fast my brain is working on this stuff. So I'll tell you what my brain was going through. So I was looking at, so I always go the black box. This is the black box. One of my clients emails me and says, my daughter reacted badly to virgin coconut oil, but not refined coconut oil. When you look at the black box, like I do, I looked at it and I went, what's the difference? This is what Grant did. This is what Grant Genereux, this is what got him down the rabbit hole of vitamin A. He was like, I have eczema. Everybody says, even in the conventional world, that these 8 foods stimulate eczema. What's in common? And then he found vitamin A. And then he went down that rabbit hole. So now I'm doing the same thing. So virgin coconut oil didn't work, but refined did. Okay. What's the difference between the two? What is one missing that the other one doesn't have? Because refining it, right? You take things out. When you refine something, you tend to take things out to make it cleaner or more refined, however you want to put it. So I found an article, I think it was from, might have been Nutiva, who makes tons of coconut products. And they said that they used, there's various processes. The last step took out the free fatty acids. And I was like, oh, is stearic acid a free fatty acid? And then I found out it was. And then the other thing that Grant had theorized before, is palmitic acid a free fatty acid? It is. Oh. And then we've got oleic acid is another one. Is that a free fatty acid? Yes. So I start doing some more Googling and I find out that cocoa butter and chocolate, which we also were thinking seems to be a problem on the vitamin A detox thing, they actually set limits on how many free fatty acids can be in it. And I'm like, oh, well, that's a problem now, isn't it? That's a problem for coconut butter to have too many free fatty acids. And refined coconut oil is okay, but virgin is not, because refined has no fatty acids in it. And then I started learning more about free fatty acids, and you can create more of them in fats by cooking the fats. And I went, tallow. Oh, okay. Lard. Okay. Really fatty cuts of beef. Cooked, right? I mean, Matt and I joked about doing the primal diet and doing raw meat. But Matt, that's over for us. We did that. That was a phase. We did that. It was interesting. But we're cooking our steaks now, at least a bit on the outside, which is going to cook the fat too, right? So, especially if you had like a super fatty ribeye that's going to set your barbecue on fire, you know what I mean? So, I think it's the free fatty acids. And then I did some. I don't know if I have the study accessible right now, but it was, I think I found something on fatty acids and, and inflammation, stuff like that. So I think the connection that we're finding is stuff that has, and it's hard to find information on free fatty acid contents of things. Sometimes it's hard to just find the fat breakdown of things. So what I'm looking at now is like especially the stearic acid, because we know that stimulates the vitamin A pathways. We're looking at palmitic acid and possibly, I have not found a lot on this, but oleic acid. So this is in process. And then see what I'm doing that I really like. When you guys tell me that you appreciate what I'm doing, I had a couple emails from people today thanking me. I'm putting when you see on the blog forum, so it's at nutritionrestore.com. It's the blog-forum if you want to go look at it. I will put on there works in progress, like work in progress, and I will just put what I have there because, first of all, I don't want to have to save it all to Pocket and have to go find it later, because that's just, it's like when you say, people do this, you save a bunch of links in your bookmarks and you never go back and look at them again. I'm worried about that with my Pocket. I'm worried about that with my Facebook. So I'm trying not to post stuff on Facebook before I post it on my blog forum, because I need to get it on the blog forum so it's there so I can go back and fix that later. Like when I had an idea today, since Matt and I wrote a book, I was like, I should contact the publisher and ask them if they're interested in a book on this. Because I am putting together, I've got a book already, shoot. But I'm still hammering it out. I'm still figuring out what I want to do, and I'd like to have it mostly done on the blog forum so that it's more like, if I write a book, I don't have to put the references boom, boom, boom in the book, where I could have people just go to the blog forum. That's where all the references are. You want science? There it is. And so I'm putting the science up there as I figure out these connections so people can see that where the connections are coming from and where it is in the literature. Because, God, I really hate the bloggers who just post stuff and make all sorts of statements about health, and they'll say the science says this, and they don't put a single reference. There are entire nutritional cults that don't put references on their stuff. Oh, yeah, so let's just keep answering questions. So I could go off all day. Just wait until you see what I post from Weston Price implicating cod liver oil in a bad, bad way on their website. This will be fun. So Mary, I hope I got that question. It's in process. Would an organic, Amanda, I'm guessing this is from you, Travis and Amanda Ross. Wouldn't organic heavy whipping cream be considered low vitamin A? I have on the vitamin A detox food list. Now, let me just talk about that for a second. On the vitamin A detox plan, people are asking me, they think it's just a food list. Those of you who are here who have purchased the access to the vitamin A detox folder know that it's a lot more than a food list. I talk about the massive number of ingredients that can be put into your skincare products. I talk about the ways that what it's called in food, other things that I would have you avoid in food and their names. I talk about the nutrients that are implicated in vitamin A metabolism, like the ones you need to make sure you have. It goes into a lot more than just a food list. I would be hesitant too to pay $47 for a food list. Yeah, that seems a bit much. That's because it's not just that. So anyway, I have added a limited amount of heavy cream to the food list. Limited. So, and it has to be organic. The biggest thing that I think has driven the vitamin A toxicity into the stratosphere in recent years, it's always been around. When you read Grant's book and he's talking about Charles Darwin having vitamin A toxicity, it's been around for a long, long time. This is nothing new. This is like the scourge of humanity. It's just people didn't have as much, and they didn't have glyphosate or Roundup pushing that vitamin A button all day long. So whether it's dairy, whether it's grains, whether it's whatever, it needs to be organic. Oh, the organochlorine pesticides. I posted both of these things on the blog forum. Organochlorine pesticides, so bug killers, stimulate the vitamin A receptor in a bad way. So now we have pesticides and we have glyphosate and Roundup. If you don't eat organic, you're getting those. It's just the way it is, right? So don't do that. So whether you're going to eat if you're going to eat a high vitamin A food, not organic, would be disaster, because you put in the firewood and you put in the gasoline. Okay, don't do that. So that's why I think the problems have gotten so bad, and I think that's why, especially the situation with the kids, has gotten so bad, because the first Roundup Ready crops came out in 1996, 22 years ago. Funny that we're having such problems with the kids these days. About 22 years ago was when they first came out. Roundup came out in 1974. Roundup Ready crops, soybeans, and all that stuff. I have a whole post on this on the blog forum. Came out in 1996. Maybe you look back at your health and you go, funny, my health problems kind of started about 20 years ago. Weird. Is it weird? Or did this just accelerate things? I am ecstatic that the guy won his lawsuit in California against Monsanto/Bayer. People are worried about that they knocked down this judgment to like from 280 or something to 60s or something. It set a precedent, folks. Tons of other people are suing them now. I think it's wonderful. I hope it eats away at the whole thing. So, okay, Amanda, you may or may not like hearing this. So for everybody who is, we're talking about cherry angiomas. Okay, cherry angiomas. They're the little red spots that you get. They look like little blood bubbles, like little teeny, like the head of a pin usually is like the size, maybe a little smaller, maybe a little bigger. They're called cherry angiomas. So she asked about that and if I knew anything about it. And the funny thing was you do a little research on them and they say they tend to start showing up in middle age. Knowing what I know about vitamin A toxicity, it is a disease of accumulation. As you get older, if you are not on a low vitamin A diet or a low enough, it's like spending. It's like budgeting. You're either, you make a certain amount of money. You're either spending more than that amount of money and you're going into debt, or you're spending less and then doing whatever with that extra money. Okay, think of vitamin A. If you are taking in more than your body can get rid of, you are accumulating it. If you are on a low vitamin A diet, you never go into debt. You never get a problem with it. Okay, it's very important. So once you have vitamin A toxicity, and if you're not doing active things in your diet to get rid of it, it will slowly get worse. And this is why, they say, oh, once you got one autoimmune disease, you're probably going to get another one, and you're probably going to get another one, and another one, and another one. And people just, the doctor watches, people go to the doctor, doc, I'm falling apart. This is wrong now, and this is wrong now, and this is wrong now. And the doctor's like, you're just getting older. That is the worst excuse I've ever heard. That is just like, go get a new job, man. Just give up. That'd be like a mechanic just being like, your car's just breaking down. There's nothing I can do. Would you put up with that mechanic? You'd be like, let me go find somebody who actually cares to fix my car. So, okay. So here we go with the connections. Cherry angiomas get worse with age. They start middle age, but if we're starting to see them show up earlier, what about vitamin A toxicity showing up earlier in kids now? Does that sound like something familiar? Then cherry angiomas, I found the research linking the number of cherry angiomas could be, no, I'm not trying to scare you with this. Cherry angiomas could be used as a signal for the doctors to check for fatty liver, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. They correlated enough that they said this should be used as a diagnostic tool to go check for fatty liver. Fatty liver is completely vitamin A toxicity. Oh my gosh. Cherry angiomas accumulate as you age. Vitamin A toxicity is an accumulative disease. Fatty liver goes along with vitamin A toxicity. I mean, I'm not trying to scare you here. I have a cherry angioma right there, right on my arm. You can't see it, but I have one. I do think I have fewer than I used to. I think I had a couple, just little teeny ones on my arm. So am I going to freak out? Am I going to be, oh my God, I have fatty liver? No, I'm not going to worry about that. And does it show up in everybody? No. But do I believe that my liver has been compromised in the past from vitamin A toxicity? Yes. I wouldn't be here talking about it if I hadn't been involved in it. So I do think it's another sign of vitamin A toxicity. I think it could pretty much be used as a diagnostic of vitamin A toxicity. And as people get older and they get more of these and they get bigger, they have more problems in their liver. So, not trying to scare you, just that's what I think it is. For children doing the vitamin A detox, are rice crackers okay? Rice is generally going to be okay, but there's the rest of the ingredients in it, so I can't make any comment on any one type of rice cracker, and I'm not going to go through every brand of every product in the food list. We at some point have to go. So if you're looking at it and you go, well, there's the rice, okay. There's the oil, got to look at the list. There's, sesame seeds and the ones I buy for my kids. There's whatever, you got to look at, each piece of it. White corn, I have, for anybody who has the vitamin A detox access to the folder, you will be very happy to know that I have made some there are very specific allowances for wheat now. Very specific. So if everybody's watching this and they go, oh my gosh, you said wheat's okay? No, very specific. And I'm not going to take the time to go into all of that on this because it's just, I don't think gluten is the problem anymore. I think there's problems with grains that can be gotten around, but the biggest thing they do is they douse. I mean, the biggest thing I'll tell you about it anyway is they douse all grains with Roundup if they're not organic. So the biggest thing you must do first about any grain you're going to eat, because most grains are low in vitamin A, is it must be organic. Do I sound like a broken record yet? Like, it needs to be organic. So white corn is okay. Yes, it is white. So fruit, you were talking about fruit. I mean, you want to make sure it's a low vitamin A fruit. I have a buddy who was eating tons of fruit, and he was eating pretty, if we thought of the standard approach to healthy, he was eating pretty healthy, but he was eating a lot of mango and possibly a lot of papaya. Those are very yellowish orange. Those are full of vitamin A. And so we talked, and he started switching around some of his fruit to do a low vitamin A stuff. And he's coming along. He's going through some detox symptoms now, which is cool. I mean, I always kind of like when people are like, I don't know if I'm getting any better on the detox. I don't feel amazingly better yet. I may actually feel a little worse. And I'm like, there's you got the detox. You got it going. It sucks. It's no fun. And it's 3 to 6 months. 3 months. I'm starting to think 3 months is like not very toxic for a person. They did not start out very toxic. I'm starting to think that the more health problems people have. So here's what we can have. Here's what we can go by on the literature. What is that thing? Does anybody else see that light flickering? Where is it? Right up there. Oh, there it is. Well, it must be a reflection off my windows. So what was I talking about? Oh man, I lost it. Talking about so many things. Well, I'm just going to skip forward then. If somebody reminds me, somebody put it in the comments what subject I lost. Okay, Mary, an observation. Do I think it could be related? Your 6-month-old has a good-sized flat spot on his head since he was about 1 month old. I'm going to skip forward. We've done the first round of detox. I just noticed yesterday his flat spot is almost completely gone. So what I did was under that comment, I posted a study, and she's asking flathead caused by vitamin A toxicity, maybe why it's so common now. Well, we have to think bones form their shape relative to the stress they're put under. This is why the muscles are designed the way they are. The muscles pull on the bones. The muscles pulling on the bones gives the bones their shape. This is how the human body is formed. So I posted a link in there. We were talking about his cradle cap going away from the vitamin A detox. Cradle cap going away, a fungus infection going away from vitamin A detox. Gosh, could all the fungal stuff be related to vitamin A? Oh, Leah, oh yeah, the more issues somebody's having with vitamin A when they start, basically the worse somebody's health, the more health issues they have, the longer it's going to take them to feel better. And it will be up to them to take every little victory that they see, whether it's energy, or they're waking up less at night, or it's easier to fall asleep, or they're smiling more, or maybe they're shaking their booty a little more around the house because they're happier, or whatever. Or they're like, wow, I haven't had loose bowels in like a week. Where did that go? That used to be normal. You got to look at every little thing, because the problem that a lot of people have is, well, it is natural for humans to take things for granted. People who are sick and who have been sick for a long time, who are just like, I know people like this, where if they're not totally better, they don't say that they're even improving. So it'd be like if somebody hurt their ankle and I'm talking to them, I'm like, so how you doing? And they're like, well, I hurt my ankle, it sucks. And what's your pain at? 7 out of 10. Okay, they come back a week later. Let's say I'm doing laser therapy on their ankle, help it heal faster. They come back after a couple treatments. How's your ankle doing? Well, my ankle still hurts. What's your pain level at? 3 out of 10. Are you doing better? Well, my ankle still hurts. This is the most frustrating thing for me, because they're not looking. It's funny because some people out there tend to think I'm negative, and I'm like, well, whatever you think is my negativity is what's driving me to solve all these problems. So if what somebody perceives as my negativity is what's causing me to solve all these problems, isn't that what we want? We don't want to be so positive that we're like idiotic and we just ignore problems because we just want to focus on making up some good idea about it, right? You could live in the world and be like, the world is great, I'm just going to be positive and everything's cool. And when the world sucks, okay? So if the world sucks, it's okay to say the world sucks. If your health sucks, it's okay to say your health sucks. You want to know why we have anger? It's because anger is an emotion that helps drive us to change something. We want change, and that's what anger drives us to do. Sadness doesn't drive us to make change. Negativity and anger drive us to make, well, it should be driving us to make change. That's how you turn it into something useful. Okay? I'm less irritable and angry now that I've been doing the vitamin A detox for as long as I have. Am I still solving problems? I think if you're here listening to me talk about this, we're solving problems. That's what we do. So anyway, but I posted in that thread. So just 6 months. Oh, that was what I was getting back to the study. We had a cat poisoned with raw pork liver. So the cat's vitamin A level was 3 times the high end of normal. So let's just say the normal was like from 3 to 10. So above 10 would be too high. That means the cat was at 30. I'm just throwing out numbers here just to give you. So when I say 3 times normal, or 3 times the high end of normal, if the high end was 10, the cat was at 30. That's really high, right? They took the cat off the raw pork liver, put it on commercial cat food, funny thing in that what Grant told me about the detox time, because at first I thought it was only gonna be like a month. I thought we'll get this done in like a month. I don't know where I got that idea from, but I was talking to Grant one day on Skype, and he goes, "It's more like 3 months, 3 to 6 months." And I was like, "Ooh, I gotta talk to some people then, because they got a longer road ahead of them." Some people started emailing me, and they're like, "I'm a month in, and stuff is better, but I'm not all better yet." And I'm like, well, just keep going. And then Grant was like 3 to 6 months. So this cat study, or cat case study, this cat was 3 times the high end of normal, put it on commercial cat food, 6 months, cat's vitamin A levels were back to normal. Normal's probably still too high, but within 6 months, the cat had come down from a 30 to a 10, so it was within the range. You know what I mean? So like I said, those numbers are just made up. They're just to give you an idea. So thanks for that, Leah. That got me onto that cat study. So the 6 months seems very plausible for a massively poisoned cat. I have people asking about, like, I have this musculoskeletal problem or whatever. Is that going to get fixed? There's a study in another cat. The cat's front leg was paralyzed from being on a liver diet. Cat's front leg, it couldn't move it. By the time the cat had been detoxed of the vitamin A, the cat could use its leg again just fine. Okay, there is serious stuff going on with this, y'all. If they were like, "I just don't think I have this," I'm like, okay, you just come back when things just continue to get worse. I'll be here. I will be here. There are too many people in the world, like, I'm not going to fix the whole world, because too many people are going to think that I'm lunatic, and they're not going to do it. So anyway, I posted a study in here. I'm just going to click to it real quick, because let me see the title. We were talking about the flat head spot. Oh, and there was 2 people in that thread saying the cradle cap was getting better, I believe. I'm not going to go back and read it, but I know we had one with cradle cap going away, and I think Tori was saying hers was going away. Title of this study: Excessive dietary intake of vitamin A reduces skull bone thickness in mice. So if you had a child who was getting too much vitamin A, who was laying on their head, and the skull is thinner than it should be, which means it's weaker than it should be, which means it more easily takes the shape of the pressure put upon it, the flat spot could very easily come from vitamin A. I hope that makes sense. So, like I was talking about with the cat with the paralysis, what caused the cat's paralysis? Vitamin A did. What's the mechanism? I don't know. Paralysis went away. Flat head spot going away. The body will fix itself. I do not know how far that goes. It's like when you have a new car. Let's say you had a 1950s car, and it's now 2018, and somebody's refurbished that car, and they've remodeled. They brought it. They keep it running. They keep it looking great, but that car squeaks. Right? It's going to squeak forever. Nothing's going to take that squeak away. So can you keep that car really nice? Yes. Is it ever going to be brand new again? No. But that's about the biggest "you're just getting older" statement that I'll make. I'll be like, you can keep your car super nice. Like, you can take your car to car shows. That's what I want. That's a good analogy. I want to be that. I want to be like, when I'm 60 years old, I want to be like those old cars at car shows. I want people to come and be like, "That's an old car, but that's nice." That's what I want. How do you keep that car so nice? That's what I want people to be looking at me and being like, "Wow, you must be doing something right. Your car is nice." And then I want to help them. So they say, "Yeah, you could do this. Here's how I got it." But the later you start, the harder it is to refurbish that car, right? So that's why I'm trying to get people started on this early, because this is working. Oh man, I think I lost my. There we are. Okay, there it is. So Leah, if someone is having detox symptoms but not noticing any overall improvement compared to how they felt before the detox cycle started after the detox cycle ends, would you say this is a detox or something else? She's been on the vitamin A detox diet for 3.5 weeks, and she has access to the folder, so she has what I consider to be good information. Leah, I think from what I think you posted this on the thread, so this is not, and we are not actively, you know, talking as doctor and client. So you posted this on the thread that you went through the vitamin A toxicity symptoms list that I put up on the blog forum the other day, and you mentioned you had 19, or you have had, or you have 19 of those symptoms. I would say that you are pretty toxic, and it's going to take a while for you to notice significant improvements. That if you feel a little worse as you're going through it, you gotta watch for those moments when you notice improvements. You have to look for the evidence that things are moving in the right direction, because that will help you stay on it. You have to look for the bright spots, the evidence that things are moving. So even if it's small, you know, I was going through a detox cycle, and my boy said to me, I was just, you know, kind of not grumpy, but I wasn't as happy as I usually was. And my boy goes, "Daddy, you don't smile as much as you used to." And I was like, huh, okay. And I'd been having some other things going on at that time that I was kind of like other symptoms. And I was like, I wonder if this is detox or this is something else. Because as you go on in the detox, at the start of the detox symptoms are rough. They're rough. They suck. It's not fun. But if people are so scared of those symptoms that they're not going to do it, well, then you can keep, as I said before, just like Obamacare, if you like your symptoms, if you like your disease, you can keep your disease, right? If you want to change it, if you want to change something, you got to change something. If you're so afraid of detox symptoms getting a little bad for a couple weeks, 3 days, 5 days, 10 days, couple weeks, 3 weeks, and that you're not willing to go through it, then you can keep your disease. It's cool. It's everybody gets to make their own choices. So you gotta, like, Leah, I'm not asking you to type out that stuff right now, but if you gotta watch for the little improvements, like the falling asleep easier, the sleeping through the night. That was one of the first things that, as I went far enough in, I was like, I hadn't slept through the night since med school, which is like, gosh, that we're getting on like 15 years now that I really hadn't slept all the way through the night. And now I sleep through the night. That was one of the things I started going, wait, I'm not waking up in the middle of the night to go pee anymore. Wait, what? And then, you know, you got to watch for those little things. Improved energy. You got to watch for the things that you're just like, where all of a sudden kind of later you go, wait, I used to have to take a nap every afternoon. No, I'm not taking a nap every afternoon. You got to watch for those things. And that will help keep you going. But yeah, if you had 19 of the symptoms on the list, you got stuff going on. It can be rough. It sucks. Keep it up. There's nothing about if you're eating your animal protein and your vegetables and your fruits and your grains that are on the detox list, you're not malnourished. You're just not bringing any of this toxin. So, okay, Kate, you're going to want to go, she asks how vitamin A disrupts hormones. You're going to want to go to the blog forum. I don't know how much I've put about this, but I'll tell you, I have 6 studies, vitamin A directly anti-thyroid. I have multiple studies showing vitamin A directly stimulates aromatase activity, so converting testosterone into estrogen, which is generally, over the long term, too much of that is considered a bad thing. I did a post on how vitamin A directly damages the Sertoli cells in the testes, which is the sperm producing cells. So and then I have other studies showing that it affects testosterone and progesterone in baby rats, like for the long term, which I do believe would go away if they were put on a low vitamin A diet. So how it affects hormones, yeah, it basically ruins them. Yeah, so Larry, a few years ago, I heard about a child in Africa whose vision was restored after receiving a dose of vitamin A. How do I explain this? It came from a reputable source. And Aubrey, you wanted me to go into this too. This is going to be a little complex. But first, I have to start with this. It's called the retinoic acid receptor. Some places in the literature call it RXR or RAR. That's what they call it. It's a receptor. Let's just call it the receptor. Okay? We know of multiple things that can stimulate this receptor. Okay? And I posted a whole thread about what if the retinoic acid receptor RXR was named wrong or incorrectly. I don't know the word I used, but you could search for that on the blog forum. I found a bunch of papers where they were saying it doesn't seem that the natural ligand, the natural compound that binds to that receptor is retinoic acid. They're like, all the clues that we have don't point to vitamin A being the natural binder to that receptor. Found multiple other papers showing DHA is suggested to be the natural ligand, the natural thing that binds to that receptor. So we have a whole cluster right now of science saying the vitamin A receptor is not for vitamin A. Okay, but they named it the vitamin A receptor because vitamin A can, it's like a key in a lock. Vitamin A can go in there and turn the lock. Think of it as like a lock pick, right? Just because somebody can come and pick the lock on your front door doesn't mean that they have the key, the right key, the key that was designed for that, okay? So you can use different things to mess with that receptor, to get it to activate. But DHA is thought to be the natural binder to that receptor. I put up multiple studies, and I think I actually found another one. So then I thought, oh, there's another thing that stimulates that receptor. It's called phytanic acid. I don't know that much about phytanic acid yet, but it's typically found in animal products. Cows can get it from breaking down phytol, which is part of chlorophyll, because they're ruminants, because they have, 4 stomachs and they can eat grass and we can't. So cows can get phytanic acid from grass. We get it from animal products, dairy, meat, that stuff. So we have 2 other things that can stimulate the retinoic acid receptor. Now, Grant's presented research in the books, and I actually went, and so Grant presented research in the books, and what we do know, and what we have, I posted research from pig veterinary literature, and Aubrey, I need to find that link. I posted on the other thread. If you want to go back on that other thread and find that cattle link about the other nutrients that are necessary in vitamin A metabolism, it is fairly well accepted in veterinary literature that when they find vitamin A deficiency, there's almost always some combination of the following: protein deficiency, zinc deficiency, phosphorus deficiency, iodine deficiency. So we have 4 other nutrients that are linked to vitamin A deficiency. Okay, protein deficiency and zinc deficiency have been linked to blindness problems. Those help. The photoreceptors in the eyes, the rods and the cones, what makes them up is protein, right? So a protein deficiency could be theorized to lead to a protein problem in the eye. Okay, zinc. Well, you need zinc for everything. I mean, you need zinc. And zinc deficiency is rampant everywhere. But I got to thinking about the DHA problem, and I was like, I wonder if I could, if DHA is linked to, like a DHA deficiency is linked to blindness. Let me see. I found a page, Developmental Disorders in Essential Fatty Acids. Okay, so let me find it here. So we had, where's the next one? Research by Dr. Storti on 15 dyspraxic children who were seriously clumsy showed substantial objective improvement when treated for 3 months with a supplement of high DHA oil, tuna oil, and thyme oil, which promotes the incorporation of these lipids into brain and eye. There's more here. Let me find it. Let me find the really good eye stuff. Wait, I think I'm going to do a search for blind. I found it. Research by Dr. Jackie Storty, published in The Lancet, indicated abnormal essential fatty acid metabolism in the eyes of dyslexics. This caused night blindness, which could be corrected by supplementation with essential lipids. So if there was a deficiency of the essential fatty acids, that's a whole nother story. There could be night blindness. DHA activates the retinoic acid receptor. You don't have enough DHA, you could get blindness. Okay. The dyslexics showed substantial improvement to near normality in just 4 weeks. Okay. Okay, so we have the dyslexic connection to the essential fatty acids. Dr. Jackie Storty, previously senior lecturer in nutrition at the University of Surrey, has recently made a major discovery. She found that both dyslexics and dyspraxics, to adapt in the dark, they behave on testing as if though they are night blind, even though they are not vitamin A deficient. Okay. What else do we have here? Study. Title of this study, docosahexaenoic acid, DHA, preserves visual function by maintaining correct disc morphology in retinal photoreceptor cells. Okay, I think I have one more. I'm not going to read any of it, but we have, do you see the connections here? So here, I'll get to the point in a second. Oh, MFSD2A is a transporter for the essential omega-3 fatty acid DHA in the eye and is important for photoreceptor cell development. Okay. Hope you can see that there's a connection between DHA, and even DHA could cause night blindness, but they weren't vitamin A deficient. So, but we're talking about the receptor. If the receptor is the lock that needs to be, the door lock that needs to be turned so you can open the door, and if anything that stimulates that receptor enough can cause the development of the photoreceptors in the eye, then all you have to do is stimulate that receptor and you can get, you could fix the blindness. Another example, women who have hormonal problems and they're having menstrual cycle problems, tons of menstrual pain, tons of menstrual bleeding, whatever, you can give them a birth control pill. You can give them synthetic hormones, and you could fix that problem while they're taking it. Right? The problem goes away. Does that mean that their body was lacking synthetic hormones? No, you put the key in the lock and you turned it and you open the door. When those women stop taking birth control pills, do all their problems come back? Well, or might they get new problems, like the anecdote I just put up on the blog forum about somebody whose life was ruined by birth control pills? Yes. Could vitamin A cause problems later? Sure. But I mean, is it nice that it fixed their blindness? Yes. But is that the root of the problem? No, not in my opinion. Now we have protein and zinc and DHA as critical factors in blindness. And if we're talking about a kid in Africa, you start going, are they getting enough protein? If you wanted to go by the stereotypes about starving children in Africa who are vitamin A deficient, they're probably not getting enough protein. Are they getting enough zinc? Well, considering animal foods are the biggest source of zinc and protein, and they're probably not eating any of it, they're probably not getting it. Then we go into DHA, essential fatty acids. If they're probably not eating enough food, they're not getting enough fat, and they're probably not going to have enough essential fatty acids made by their body or taken in from the outside. Okay, so we now have a mechanism. So I want to tell you a funny story. I saw that question, Larry, and I was and Aubrey, and I was like, you know, it's like when you get challenged with a question. I was like, that question, I don't like it. And some people when they get asked those questions, like my initial reaction was like, I was a little, yeah, I don't like it. It's like challenging and I don't know how to wrap my brain around it. And as I thought about it more, I just let it marinate. And then I thought about the ligand post that I did in the blog form, and I was like, I have other, the DHA is the natural ligand. What if DHA is connected? And then I've got two papers, 2 scientific studies, and then one of the other papers. That paper, or those things I was quoting, there was developmentaldelay.com. So they're into developmental delays. What else do we have? Nothing there, but there was, let me go back in there and see if I had another one. Oh, the World Blind Union. We're talking about retinitis pigmentosa, which as retinitis pigmentosa gets bad enough, it could make you blind. So then what do we have with retinitis pigmentosa? I had something in here about DHA. Or was it about phytanic acid? Yeah, there's a weird rare situation where retinitis pigmentosa, if people eat too much phytanic acid, it will aggravate this refsum syndrome. It's weird. We're finding other things that stimulate the receptor, the retinoic acid receptor, that are related to blindness. So maybe the phytanic acid is blocking something in their system. I don't know. So, okay, Megan, would diatomaceous earth and/or activated charcoal on an empty stomach be of any benefit with the vitamin A detox? Diatomaceous earth is not a detoxer, really. That's like, I don't believe it's a detox agent. I think it's I think it mostly passes through you. Some of it's absorbed. We get silica out of it. So how do we know some of it's absorbed? Go type in diatomaceous earth human testimonials or diatomaceous earth testimonials. Go on Amazon, read the testimonials there. People will say that their hair, their skin, their nails get better when they take diatomaceous earth. How is that happening if they're not absorbing it? If people who take silica, orthosilicic acid, and they say their hair, skin, nails get stronger and better, and they say the same thing about diatomaceous earth, doesn't it make sense that you're absorbing the orthosilicic acid? That's the base material for hair, skin, nails, that stuff. And if you get results with both of them, you are absorbing some of it. Is the orthosilicic acid probably more efficient? Do you get more out of less? Yes. Is it like 100 times more expensive? Yes. So I know which one I'm going to use. I'm going to use the diatomaceous earth. Diatomaceous earth also can be shown it helps with killing parasites if you take a big enough dose. It also may deplete zinc if you take a big enough dose. So got to be careful with it. It actually, I believe it blocks the uptake of zinc from the gut to a certain extent. Not with the doses I use with my people, I'm not worried about that. We're talking about tablespoon or multiple tablespoons a day dosing, lowering zinc. So I just don't think diatomaceous earth is diatoms. It's basically the exoskeleton, the shells, in a way, of these little teeny diatom creatures. I've never heard of anybody saying, oh yeah, insect skeletons, exoskeletons, you should crunch those up and eat those because that'll detox you. No, they're not going to absorb anything. So activated charcoal, yes. Diatomaceous earth, no. So activated charcoal, can it suck up stuff and absorb stuff? Yes. Do I know that it's helpful with detox? I think it's helpful. I think it could be. I have some people who don't react well to it. I mean, you got to remember, some people I get are failures of multiple practitioners, some of the biggest names out there. and I have them try the activated charcoal. Some of them are like, that did not feel good, and it revs them up. Like, and I'm going, what? That doesn't, it doesn't make sense. Black box. I don't know what's happening in the box. What's in the box? What's in the box? I don't know. They took some charcoal. They didn't feel good. Don't take the charcoal, right? As my kids say, derp-a-dur. Doesn't feel good when I do this. Don't do that. Doctor, it hurts when I do this. Don't do that. Not good for you at that time. Okay? So if people want to try the charcoal, they can. So that's that. Maddie, you were asking, what is the root cause of heartburn? What is the root cause of hemorrhoids? I kind of answered this. There is no root cause of any one condition. It's not that easy. Think of just back pain, right? One guy, somebody could be like, well, you've got, you've got too much calcium in your system. You've got vitamin A toxicity. You've got da-da-da. And other people are like, oh, it's your posture. Oh, it's whatever. And nobody asks the guy, are you sitting on a big fat wallet in your back pocket all day? And the guy's like, oh, yeah, I sit on my wallet. Maybe stop sitting on your wallet, bro. Okay, so you see what I'm saying? Like, people could get into all these complicated things about what are causing this guy's back pain when the solution is just don't sit on your wallet. If somebody's drinking stuff that's way too acidic all the time, they might get problems that are looking like heartburn. Heartburn is a group of symptoms. It's a syndrome, right? Which is just a group of symptoms that they give a name because they seem to come together, but it's not, everybody doesn't always get the same symptoms, and everybody doesn't always get all the symptoms. So just what is the root cause? There is no root cause to anything. Hemorrhoids. What if somebody could be really constipated and there's just tons of straining going on that is putting too much. Okay, hemorrhoids. What's the mechanical basis of hemorrhoids? It's too much pressure on the blood vessels down in your butt. Okay, so the blood vessels are bulging. Okay, that's the basic idea of hemorrhoids. So then you go, what is the root cause of that excess pressure? What if they took something that a medication that caused them to become constipated, and they are gonna poop and they are gonna push as hard as they can, and their muscles are putting the pressure down in their bowels, and the blood vessels can't take it? Okay, that's one thing. What if another person has vitamin A toxicity that is ruining their liver, and they're getting portal hypertension, basically hypertension associated with the liver? If things can't go through your liver, you get back pressure going down. It's hard enough for the blood from your legs to come up because it's got to fight gravity. You got your heartbeat pushing it, but then it's got to come back up against gravity. And so if the gravity force is, if there's too much pressure in those blood vessels down there, you start to get things like varicose veins, because the valves, so when your blood is pumping up from your legs, the blood is coming up, and you have these valves that are like this in your blood vessel that's going back up to your heart. When your heart beats and it pushes the blood, it's gone down your legs and it's coming up. Sorry, my mommy's calling me. So the blood is coming up from your legs. It goes through the valve, it pushes the valve open. Blood, it flows for one beat. The blood starts to fall down again because it goes, and then the valve snaps shut to keep it going backwards. Next heartbeat goes, boom, the blood that was here moves up one more valve, or however many more valves before the gravity comes and they snap shut again. It's a way that the blood doesn't fall back down to your feet. What are varicose veins? Varicose veins are when there's been too much pressure on that valve and the valve breaks. Okay? Hemorrhoids are varicose veins in your butt. Too much pressure. One way to get them, too much pressure from your liver below. So that's like, could be too much straining, could be your liver's not good, could be all sorts of things. So we can look at a mechanical cause of something like hemorrhoids. You could say, well, too much pressure in the blood vessels in your butt blew out the valves. We need to figure out what's causing all that pressure. That's the root cause. What is causing that pressure? There's all sorts of things that could cause mechanical pressure problems. Could be high blood pressure everywhere in the body. Could be a problem with the nutrition of the tissues that make up your blood vessels, and so they become weak, and so they break. So you see how this is why it's nothing in health. If anyone in health ever comes up, the cause of this is this. And I know people are going to say, but you're saying vitamin A toxicity does all these things. Yeah, it does a ton of things. Does that mean it causes, like the guy sitting on his wallet? Does vitamin A toxicity cause somebody to sit on their wallet? No. I'm not going to say it causes everything. But in terms of chronic disease, where people are like, yeah, I got like 5 autoimmune diseases. Yeah, you got vitamin A toxicity. I got joint pains, I got headaches, I got skin rashes, you got vitamin A toxicity. Like I can go down the list. If somebody starts showing up with like multiple things on the list, I'm pretty sure it's a nutrition thing. Now, could various things make vitamin A toxicity worse? Absolutely. Nutrient deficiencies, the 3 biggest ones that are causing many people's issues. And if you go and take any of these supplements and you're not on my program and you screw it up and you don't feel good, that's not me. I didn't do anything. Magnesium, zinc, and boron. Too much zinc will deplete your copper. You go out there and you start experimenting taking borax and you're taking a crap load of that, I don't know what's going to happen to you. I didn't feel good on borax when I tried it. My kidneys were not happy. Oh, and I was not taking crazy doses. And in the research, kidney failure is associated with taking too much borax. That should scare the crap out of you. It did with me when I took it, and my low back started getting very, very stiff, which I associate with kidney-referred pain. So yeah, I don't mess with borax, but all sorts of cowboys out on the internet are like, yeah, borax is totally safe. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not going to hang my hat on it. So Stephen, you asked a question about, I talked early on about the, how long have we been on? An hour and 7. I'm going to try to get through more of these. I don't do recommendations. Don't ask me supplement recommendations on here. I mean, I gave you the magnesium, zinc, and boron, and I told you what I wouldn't do. I'm not going to tell you what I do because that's what I do for my clients. So I know that they get the information that I want and they don't mess it up. And if they do mess it up, they have an email line back to me so they can say, I tried it, it's not working. I have some people who don't feel good on magnesium, any type of magnesium. So we troubleshoot that. Sometimes it's just don't take any magnesium yet. Okay, so, but yeah, I don't recommend specific supplements on this kind of broadcast. Tori, talking about potatoes being a nightshade, are they only beneficial now because of low vitamin A? Any of the negatives of the nightshade family pertain to them anymore? Absolutely, there are negatives to them. Angelica commented right below it, potatoes pass the reflux chest pain test for me. Tomatoes are a definite no. Potatoes pass so vitamin A for me, my test of, when you get better at the vitamin A detox and the low to no vitamin A thing, if you are the type of person, because not everybody is this, if you are a sensitive person and you pay attention to your symptoms, you will start to learn when you do eat some vitamin A stuff, or when you're going through the detox, you will learn what your symptoms are that are vitamin A related. Mine was gut symptoms. Mine was food, just some foods would, the type they would just sit in my gut and just, ferment a bit or bloat a bit, or they just feel like a rock. And then sometimes I would burp them up. Carrots. If I had too many eggs, especially if I had eggs with coffee, 6 hours it took for that rock feeling to go away. Or they would go right through me. Sweet potatoes, watermelon, right through me. So potatoes pass the vitamin A gut test for me. So Angelica's saying they passed the reflux chest pain test for her. And I used to always wonder, I used to tell people about the nightshades, and I still do, different nightshades will affect different people differently. Potatoes, for me, I was always wondering about the nightshade thing because potatoes sat really well for me compared to the other ones. And so because I had, now the way to make potatoes the best, if you want to, the real issue in the potatoes is the solanine and the chaconine, the glycoalkaloids. I think I have that article, the paper I wrote on that for the performance menu on the blog forum. So the solanine and the chaconine are not great. The best way to get rid of those is peeling the potatoes. The thicker the peel you do, the more you take off from the peel side, the better off you'll be. Again, this is going to fit into the whole thing of, but wait, everybody said that the peel was the best part for you. People traditionally took the peels off people. Why would they go to all that work? Why? Before people had all these things in their kitchen and little magical, OXO potato peelers that they could do a potato in like 30 seconds. And they used to have to sit there with a knife and do that, where they kind of roll it around in their hand and they got to go with a knife all the way around it. Why would they waste all that time and energy if there wasn't a benefit to it? So yes, I do absolutely think that peeling the potatoes gets rid of nearly all of the negatives of potatoes. Other than you never eat a sprouting potato, never. Cut off any bruised areas thickly. Make sure you get that off. And then what else was there? Green. Do not eat green potatoes at all. Throw them away. And then peel them. I'll be honest, I say that, and there's certain things for health that I have my lazy areas. I have not started peeling my potatoes. It's just something, I got enough stuff to do. I'm the cook in my house, and I never got around to it. And so my daughter's asking, what do you guys want for Christmas? What do you and I was like, or Hanukkah, we do both in our house. So I was like, an OXO potato peeler. So I'm going to try. Interesting thing though, about the Instant Pot pressure cooking, I cooked red potatoes in the Instant Pot. And by the time it was done, the red skin was brown. Did it destroy carotenoids? I hope so. There is a bit of research showing that. So am I going to just like throw tomatoes in the Instant Pot and eat them because a little bit of red left the skin of a potato, and then I'm going to think that there's no vitamin A in tomatoes? No, you're ludicrous. No. So it was just an interesting thing. And do red potatoes have carotenoids in the skin? Probably a little bit. Potatoes have a teeny little bit of carotenoids. I'm not worried about it. But yeah, I should peel them. I'm trying to get there. I haven't gotten there yet. But yeah, so are there still problems with potatoes? Yes. Potatoes have sent entire schools of children in Ireland to the hospital because they were stored improperly. You got to store your potatoes in as dark an area as possible, cool, not warm. So you got to think of, what is the potato protecting itself from? The potato makes solanine and chaconine and these glycoalkaloids to protect it against predators, okay? What would make a potato think that it was in danger? If it's out of the ground, okay? So the less light the potato sees, the less it thinks it's out of the ground. The cooler it is, apparently the refrigerator doesn't do good things to potatoes. So, but the cooler it thinks it is, the better off it's going to be. I forget the other one. I think I have another one in the article about how to store them. What I do at my house is I put them in a little fruit basket that we have in the kitchen after they're washed. And then I cover them with another black towel. So they're as in the dark as I'm going to be, and I try to eat them as quick as I can so that they don't start sprouting. And I love potatoes. Oh my gosh. Whew. Tori, wondering if I have any thoughts on Ashitaba. I don't even know what that is, and I don't have time to look up now, so I'm sorry. Any connection? Patty's asking any connection that I know of to macular degeneration. I will find that at some point. I have not looked into that one. The little bit of research I've looked into macular degeneration in the research. So when you hear this, people, you're gonna, what's going on? Macular degeneration in the research has been associated with low blood vitamin A. If you have not read my retinol binding protein post, retinol binding protein rule about how people can have low vitamin A and still have vitamin A toxicity, it's there. There's the retinol esters thread about how people can have low vitamin A and still have too many retinol esters. And that can be a diagnostic of vitamin A toxicity. I posted a thread about the toxicity of beta carotene that everybody thinks is so good for their eyes. So could macular degeneration have too many carotenoids in their eye? And that's not what the scientists are measuring. They're measuring serum retinol. That could be part of it. So there's absolutely mechanisms to this. I just haven't figured that one out yet. So, okay, Leah, has anyone mentioned craving high vitamin A foods while going through the detox? And Angelica, you posted a good comment I liked, which was there's cases of hypervitaminosis A where the patient craved vitamin A until he got better. I haven't seen that link or that reference. So if you have that, Angelica, and you want to send me like a private message or just post it on my page or whatever, that would be awesome. And Leah, Leah, you're saying you swear your husband thinks you're crazy because you're totally over potatoes and rice and all you want is a big, huge salad with steamed broccoli. So you're the type of person who could have easily been a vegetarian because you love vegetables. Okay, so I have a funny saying that I'm going to use here, which is crackheads love crack. It doesn't mean it's good for them, right? Somebody quits alcohol, somebody quits smoking, somebody quits whatever. If they were doing it a lot and it had become a big part of their life and it would become a chemical dependence, they quit it. It's going to be the only thing their brain thinks about because their brain wants another dopamine hit. I had a woman, she went through withdrawals from spicy peppers because she was eating so many of them. They were seriously going through like withdrawal symptoms because one of the things that peppers stimulate, that stimulates adrenaline, stimulates cortisol. So does cocaine. So people can become addicted to peppers physically and mentally. So absolutely, okay, nobody really is worried about people becoming addicted to good things so much. You know what I mean? Like the foods that we typically talk about getting addicted to are usually the ones that aren't so good for us, right? You don't hear people say, I'm addicted to steak, right? I'm addicted to cauliflower, right? It doesn't happen that way. People get addicted to the things that their body really, really wants in a not good way because they want the hit that it gives them. So, and for somebody who's really toxic, I mean, Leah, your posts in here are showing that you're probably pretty darn toxic. And if Angelica's saying that she may have a reference to somebody who was really attached to vitamin A or carotenoids because they were actually diagnosed with hypervitaminosis A. So that means that the MDs diagnosed them with this. That means they were really bad. You know, you're probably, if you're having the longer detox before you're having improvements and you had lots of the symptoms on the list and now you're craving these foods and you have a history of eating tons of fruits and vegetables that were probably high in vitamin A, maybe even taking some other ways, your body wants to have that stuff because it grew used to it. And taking it away is a big, big step. Yeah, so it's really just kind of, it goes along with the mechanisms of addiction in the body, I think. And also, there's another blog post by somebody on the internet who's very into vitamin A, who's not going to like what I post when I post the results of that study. That kind of blows apart what they're trying to show. taking vitamin A or eating a bunch of vitamin A during the detox, if somebody's detoxing vitamin A and they eat a bunch of vitamin A or they take some vitamin A, it will stop the detox. Okay? It will shut it down and they will feel better for a little while until whatever the vitamin A is doing in their liver starts wearing them down again. So can you shut down the detox? Yes. How do you know it's not a vitamin A deficiency, Dr. Smith? And how do you know it's a detox? Because what I've seen in people, the research I've seen, the population, if you searched on the forum for population level study, I think you'd find it. If you search for population, you'd probably find it. The wording was something like this. In Central America and Latin America, or they said Latin America, I think they said Central America and Latin America. Since the 1960s, they have known about vitamin A deficiency in the population, and it's significant. This next part is important. But it was never really addressed because it never really presented a lot of problems. Do you understand the implications of what they just said? It was well known that the population had vitamin A deficiency based on blood tests. But they didn't have a lot of problems, so we never bothered with it. Doesn't that blow the whole, we need vitamin A as an essential nutrient out of the water? Doesn't that go against everything? Like that other thing about where these kids could have night blindness, which everybody thinks is a vitamin A deficiency, but it was DHA. And they didn't have vitamin A. They didn't have vitamin A deficiency. They had a DHA problem. So what I'm having to do in the literature is, because it's hard to pull these things out of the literature because everybody assumes it is an essential nutrient. But I can find these little pieces of evidence in there showing that they're basically demonstrating that it's not an essential nutrient that we have to get from our diet. It is not. So, I don't know of any, it's so out there. I'm pissed that other people haven't figured this out first. It's cool that I get to figure it out because it's like I get to go and open a new treasure chest every day and find new treasure because it's all right there. But the problem is I'm pissed that, so many people have had to suffer. Why I was taught wrong to use vitamin A from 3 different approaches: the naturopathic approach, the William Walsh Institute approach, and the HTMA, the hair tissue mineral analysis world. I was taught to use this in people, and I did, and I didn't question it soon enough. Super happy that Grant, I guess I'm happy in a way that Grant Genereux had his health problems, so then he figured it out, so then he shared it with me, and now I'm on it. This is not going away. So let me see if there's anything else. Let's see. Trista, you're asking about your daughter has eczema, or doctors referring us for allergy testing. Since I assert the link between vitamin A toxicity and the skin problem, would vitamin A heavy foods show up on her allergy test as the problem? Or do you think I should expect some other outcome from that line of testing? Well, here's what you can know from what I do is it's very regular for people who are doing the nutritional restoration programs with me, even before I got rid of the vitamin A in their programs, for them to see food intolerances and allergies. Now, I'm not going to say food, I'm not saying anaphylactic allergies, just what they called food allergies. So usually just they didn't feel good on it. Intolerances, sensitivities, that stuff to improve and even go away. I think restricting diets in terms of allergy rotation diets and stuff like that, unless somebody has, well, basically there was a Japanese study where they put people who had food sensitivities, intolerances on rotation diets. It's important that you hear this. Their allergies, they got more food allergies as they went. It made them worse. And I've seen this with people who are on GAPS and people who are on other very restrictive food lists diets, and that the authors theorized that was because they were getting they weren't getting enough nutrients from a variety of foods. I don't know if that's correct, but they weren't getting enough nutrients from a variety of foods. And so they were developing more intolerances and more sensitivities to stuff that they weren't intolerant or sensitive to before. That's not the results I want. I like the results I was getting, which is where people are getting less reactions. So the food allergy test is, I mean, I had a woman in my office the other day, and she has autoimmune thyroid, and she did an allergy test, and I mean, the funny thing that was coming up was there was wheat and gluten, there was dairy, there was eggs, some of the things that we tend to restrict on the vitamin A detox. But was I looking at it and going, these are problems? No, they were. She was starting to build up, the common things that people have found stimulate. Those are 3 of the 8 things on the eczema list that stimulate eczema, and she has an autoimmune condition. Is it a coincidence? I don't think so, but I would not expect I would not go looking for that in terms of a food allergy test to see high vitamin A foods come up. That's not something, I mean, I don't do food allergy tests because I'm after fixing it. What I can tell you that I have seen in my son, who was diagnosed with anaphylactic allergies to 3 different tree nuts, walnuts, pecans, and hazelnuts, since we have been doing, well, all the things I do with them, but especially I give them their mineral juice in the morning, where I test them. I blood tests and hair tests, and I give them their little drops or powders mixed into some, lemonade or grape juice or whatever. In between the allergist doing she alternates skin tests one year or every other year with a blood test, another, I forget if it's every other year. Anyway, my wife usually takes him into the allergist to do the testing. But I ran a LabCorp nut panel on him because I wanted to see if he was improving with what I had been doing. And the LabCorp nut panel only came up with 1 of the 3 nuts as him having an IgE reaction to in the blood. Am I fixing my son's anaphylactic allergies? It is quite possible. There is stuff in the literature to suggest connections between these types of allergies and possible vitamin A toxicity. So, and we're seeing all the things that I've posted about I posted research on there about sensory processing issues and motor development delays. And there's a whole paper on hyperactivity and retinoids, and several of the nutrients that I've found that are theorized to help with vitamin A toxicity also have been shown to reduce the severity of anaphylactic reactions. So the connections are there. Am I claiming anything right now? No. Just what I've seen in my son. Are we still treating my son like he's allergic? Yeah, hell yeah. I'm not going to, that would be a stupid mistake to make, to be overconfident. I mean, if and when we do an allergy trial with my son, it's going to be in the allergist's office where they have the EpiPens and the crash carts and all that stuff ready. But I'm pretty excited that we are onto something here. The eczema, when people do a vitamin A detox, they are going to get eczema flaring up during it. Absolutely. It's going to flare up. Body's detoxing it through the skin. Eczema is a chemical peel from the inside out. Chemical peels are retinoic acid. Retinoic acid is the oxidized form of vitamin A. That is my description of eczema. Chemical peel from the inside out. So am I expecting those foods to show up on that food allergy test? No. So what else do we have? So Melissa, I generally don't recommend fish or shellfish because of the multiple ways that they're toxic today. Yes. I mean, you can talk about so we got Atlantic Ocean fish, deeper, colder water, more vitamin A in them. We got Pacific fish. We got Fukushima radiation going into all of them. We've got, I mean, there's all the microplastic stuff everywhere that all of them are eating and getting stuck in there. There's mercury in all fish and shellfish. I can show it to you on hair testing. I can make a very good guess as to how often people eat fish in a week based on their mercury level on a hair test. It's that lined up. Like, and do I have to ask them what fish or shellfish they eat to guess their mercury? No, I don't. I mean, sushi will ramp them up. Like, sushi's the worst. And then there was that post the other day, or like weeks ago, that I made about them, people finding live parasites in, fish that was being brought into restaurants and stuff like that. It hadn't been cooked yet, but they were finding like worms in the fish. And it's just, I don't try, we have done horrible things to the oceans and the lakes. Horrible things. The problem is like when you're on land, things in the air or whatever, they can settle and then be on the ground. And, if there's a toxic area over here, you can avoid it. In the ocean, it spreads out everywhere. And people say, well, it's diluted and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, it hasn't diluted enough. We got problems in the fish and shellfish. So I'm not gonna touch that crap. I'm just, no, that's my thing. So yeah, ruminants, and for eating animal protein generally, ruminants and birds. I wish it were different. I wish I could eat fish. I like cod. I like salmon. I don't know if I'd eat salmon much anymore because of the carotenoid content. That's why salmon's pink. So that's about that. Okay, I think I got through all the questions. Only an hour and a half of me jawing off here. So any of you who are interested in working with me at nutritionrestored.com, what I do is called nutritional restoration. We're working on, I do blood tests especially for vitamin A, iron overload. I just had a woman come back. It was great. We had done one set of labs. We got her iron. She was borderline iron overload, and she had high copper, low zinc, and I didn't have a vitamin A test on her at that point because I wasn't doing the test back then. But we just got back her recent blood test, perfect iron labs, perfect copper and zinc labs, and then she still had high calcium on her last hair test, which I do believe is linked to either or both vitamin D supplement history and or vitamin A toxicity. And we were talking about the vitamin A toxicity symptoms, and she thinks she has it. And we did the blood test on vitamin A. Her blood test was twice as high as the level that I want people below. So high calcium on a hair test, twice as high vitamin A on a blood test. And she's been going through the vitamin A detox, having some detox symptoms. No, but her sleep is better already, which makes your energy better, right? And she's excited about it. So we had a good chat the other day. So if people just wanted to do the vitamin A detox, we have a folder for that. Access is $47 for, I believe it's a month right now. And you can get all that stuff I talked about earlier in the podcast, but there's no access to me that way. There's other things in between. There's all sorts of options. So that's about that. I'm working on setting up a private forum on the blog forum for people who have purchased either people who just want to pay for access to it, or for people who there will be a time that will be, for people who have already bought the detox, there will be a normal a membership fee. It won't be very much. But for people who buy the vitamin A detox in the future, that's going to be included with it, so that people can get, they can talk to other people who are going through this and complain about how everybody around them thinks they're nuts, like me, and their relatives think they're nuts and all this. How could modern science be so wrong? Well, doctors used to recommend cigarettes, like it's just, they're wrong. And somehow doctors and scientists allowed Monsanto and Bayer to foist glyphosate and Roundup on us. I did not know this until the other day, but glyphosate was originally used for cleaning out the inside of boilers of mineral deposits. It was a chelating agent. It took the minerals off the inside, the scale off the inside of these boilers. It sucks the minerals out of you. Sometime one day, like all these stupid stories in science, like how microwaves were, that somebody figured out that microwaves could cook food because a scientist had a chocolate bar in his pocket and he walked by the microwave emitter that they were studying and research stuff, and it melted the chocolate in his pocket, and they were like, oh, this is a good idea. Let's cook food with this. And later, 10 years later, 20 years later, all those scientists are dead of cancer. So anyway, they let glyphosate, so they spilled some glyphosate on the ground by some plants. And it killed the plants. And they went, oh, that's a good idea. Let's use it as a plant killer. A chelating agent as a plant killer. What do you think it happens? What do you think does to you when you eat it? Okay. Sucks all the minerals out of you, and it's activating your vitamin A receptor. So the vitamin A receptor, do we need to activate it? Yes. The natural activator of it is DHA. We don't need that much DHA. And am I saying for everybody to go take fish oil? No. We need to fix the stuff. We need to fix the diet and all that stuff. I do really well with my clients without anybody ever taking fish oil. I don't take fish oil. I don't have people take fish oil. We fix that problem without fish oil. You just eat good animal sources of protein, and then you get good fats, and then you get your plant and animal, your plant proteins and your plant fats, and it's not something that we have to worry about. But so DHA is the activator. Can stimulating, so you take, let's say we have people eating too much glyphosate, just pounding on that receptor all the time. We have, actually there was that funny, somebody, I saw it on Facebook, somebody posted a meme where they were doing the parts per million of things in, was it Quaker Oats or was it a breakfast cereal? And they showed that they were saying that there's more glyphosate parts per million in there than there is some vitamins. And the funny thing was I looked at that picture, and at the bottom of it, there was glyphosate, like 2.7 parts per million. And right under that was vitamin A at like 1.5 parts per million or whatever the number was. And I was like, wow. So the glyphosate is even higher than the vitamin A now in that cereal or whatever it was. So it's crazy. But there's all sorts of things that are hitting the vitamin A receptor all the time. And so if you hit the receptor all the time, you stimulate the cells to turn over too fast. I don't know, I'm trying to think of an analogy right now, but it's just way too fast to cell turnover, way too fast. And if somebody was like handing you projects too fast to do, you might be able to keep up with the first or the second, like that what was it? The Lucy, where they show the conveyor belt and she's trying to keep up with it and it goes too fast and she can't keep up and it becomes a mess. That's what happens with too much either vitamin A or stimulation of the vitamin A receptor. You turn over the cells too fast and then they break down and they burn out. And then you get signs of not enough cells, dry skin, hair loss. Can you tell I did my hair sample the other day? Not trying. I did. I finally cut my hair again. I did my hair sample, but no, hair samples are just a little bit from the back. I just do mine real easy because I just trim it all off. So anyway, we are all done for the day. I will see you all later. Hope you all have a great weekend. Hope you had fun and learned something. And if you want to get in touch with my office, Julie, my amazing office manager, her email is admin@nutritionrestored.com. Again, that's admin@nutritionrestored.com. Otherwise, all the contact information can be found at nutritionrestored.com. Again, finally, I'm going to add this at the end again. I am a doctor. I am not your doctor unless we are working together. So do not, if you take anything that I said on this broadcast and you decide to act on it, you are an adult. It is your responsibility. Take responsibility for what you're going to do. Research it first. I put all the research out there for everybody to see. Unlike some other people, I wish more people put all the research out there. And be smart. If you want my guidance on all of this, I am here to help. And if you think I go into detail on all this stuff, what do you think I do with my clients? So there we go. Have a great weekend. Talk to y'all later.